morning. Premier Smith, you know, we often think of this in the firewall letter expressed in these terms, that this is a way of sticking it to Ottawa. This in fact sticks it to residents of every province that doesn't start with the letter Q. What do you say to those people or your fellow premiers in those other provinces, or the people who look at this and see that this would cost us more? We would have to pay higher premiums if Alberta took half of its assets pool and all of its payers out.
Well, I would hope people would develop an understanding of how difficult it is when you've got a small population province like Alberta being asked to subsidize the rest of the country, as we do on so many programs. We have 4.4 million people, and we're being asked to pay for a program that covers 37 million people. So if we had our own program, of course the savings for us would be substantial. $14.25 per worker, $14.25 per employer, but the cost associated with that for the rest of the country would actually be quite modest. I think the calculation in the report says $175 increase per employee and per employer and employee. So this is the issue that we have always had in Alberta, is that many of these federal programs are stacked against us. And this one, I think, shows how dramatically stacked against Albertans it is, and why it's impacting our seniors. They could have higher benefits. It's impacting our workers. They could have lower premiums. It's impacting our employers. They would be able to have savings that would allow them to invest back in their business. That's what we've got to be, that's what we're helping to educate the rest of the country on. This is the reason why Albertans have been frustrated, why the Fair Deal Panel was created in the first place, why there was an equalization referendum that got 62% support, is that we want to have a better constructive relationship with the rest of the country, and this begins the conversation.
The next one, I will go to Bill Curry, Globe and Mail.
Thank you. A question for the Finance Minister about the Canada Pension Plan. The Alberta Premier is announcing a plan to pull the province out of the CPP, and we understand she's going to say the province is entitled to about half the assets, more than $300 billion. What's your response to that?
Thank you for the question, Bill. You know, let me start by saying that the CPP, I think, is one of the crown jewels of Canada. The CPP ensures that our parents and all of us can have a safe and dignified retirement. It is a source of a huge amount of security for every single Canadian, from coast to coast to coast, and it is the envy of the world. We're lucky to have it. In terms of Alberta's announcement today, it is happening even as we speak. I haven't read the details, and I'm going to refrain from comment until I've read them.
You mentioned that the CPP is the crown jewel for Canadians, certainly not in Quebec, where the QPP has been the crown jewel since 1965. So details aside, can Albertans count on the federal government to enthusiastically enter into negotiations to help set up an Alberta pension program? And if not, why should Alberta be disqualified from doing something that Quebec has been doing since 1965?
So I do think it's important to start with the reality, which is that the CPP is a source of tremendous security for Canadians from coast to coast to coast. Thanks to the CPP, so many of us have an assurance that we can retire in dignity and in security. And the CPP is really the envy of the world. When I talk to ministers from other countries, they talk to me about how fortunate we are to have the CPP, and there are a lot of countries that are trying to create their own versions of it. In terms of Alberta's specific proposal, that is being made as all of us are speaking here, and it would be premature for me to comment on it without having read the details.